Welcome, welcome to this edition of the Erica Edwards Show here on Business Takeout. And today, October 1st, we bring you Celeste London. Welcome, Celeste.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
So Celeste is the Nut Milk Lady. That is where you will find her online on all platforms and her website. And today, Celeste is here, like all of our other guests, to drop the wisdom of someone who has done and is doing it. Thank you for joining us, Celeste. Welcome again.
Thank you for having me.
Do you want to do a little intro and tell them who you are?
Yes. So I would say about 1 year anniversary has passed by. And to put a short story of how I became the nut milk lady. So my son, my third child, he's going to be 7 years old soon. And he came home one day being allergic to cow milk. And the reason how I knew that is because of my holistic health background. So to make a long story short, I dived into the kitchen making my own nut milks, and I vended around as far as Innisfil, Ontario to Oshawa, Ontario. And people were calling me this nickname, the nut milk lady. So that's how I went and registered the name with the government of Canada called the nut milk lady. And so now I'm known in the GTA as the nut milk lady, somebody who makes freshly brewed milk. It has a 7-day shelf life. So when you pay, you're getting milk that's that fresh, something that Mother Nature intends for the way food is intended to be in our bodies. And that's how the nut milk lady grew. And then throughout COVID, I got more exposure. And then because people are tired of going in the grocery stores and lining up. So I was very crazy during COVID time when everybody was in the quarantine. And the nut milk lady got a lot more exposure. And so I'm also known as a hormone nutritionist, where I combine food medicine protocol to help women to balance their hormones. Because again, before COVID, I lost my contract with my job, where at my day job, I was working as a nutritionist. And I didn't know at the time, but I was working and helping females to balance their hormones. And the feedback that I was getting from everyone is, thank you for balancing my hormones. So because of my job, I realized that I'm more than credible to come out into the world and share my value, my educational background, and how we as women can go about balancing our female hormones. So what I specialize in is fatigue, stress, and hypothyroidism. And any of all of that have to do with a hormonal imbalance. And there is a way to balance your hormones with Mother Nature's foods.
So it seems like first of all, before I say that, how long have you been the nut milk lady? How many years now?
Just 1 year.
Just 1 year. Wow. And you, like you said, you've had the exposure. So it was about a year ago that you started on this journey?
April in 2019, I actually went and registered the name, the Nut Milk Lady. I did a Canada search on the name as well. I went that far. And the kinds of calls that I'm receiving from big, like name brand companies, like Nike and stuff, have called me to ask me, where did I get my label? Where did I get my logo? Okay. And reached out to me and said, where'd you get this design from?
That is amazing. So, but before you registered, how long were you making milk?
I would say just for a couple of months, like I would just find out where I would go to vend. And I didn't have a label or nothing. I just had the milks that I made. And I was going out to just have people sample the different types of milk. So I have 5 different blends of milks: Brazil, walnut, pecan, hazelnut, and pumpkin seed. And so I'm registered with I'm advertised in the vegan magazine in Toronto, and they saw pumpkin seed milk, and one lady freaked out and said, oh my God, I never heard of pumpkin seed milk before. What is that, right? Even the Vegetarian Association of Toronto, they never heard of the fact that you can consume it in a milk form, because I extract it from the seed or the nut. And because it's freshly made, it has medicinal health benefits for the human body, because when something is fresh from nature, the cells inside the body get the benefits.
Amazing. Wow. So a year and a half you're looking at, like just under 2 years. What I find interesting is that you started with it, they say necessity is the mother of invention. So it started with the need. Your child needed to be able to be nourished without suffering. Right. So you started with that, and then it caught on, and it's almost like your client base gave you your name.
Yes.
And then through your job, and I also find it interesting how you spelled it, almost like a swear word, like, you know, when you curse and you cover your mouth. It's just, when you said it the first time, I said, that's so funny, because that was so loaded. There's so much in that, the way she said it. But at your job, you, like you said, it gave you the credentials to go out there and do it. And something I find with entrepreneurs, because, you know, most of us are raised the same way, you know, you get a job and you pay your dues and you'll be okay, and you'll retire and you'll die and everything would have been fine. And when we venture out on our own, that imposter syndrome, that, you know, am I really valid syndrome comes into play. But again, it seemed to really come into place for you, that what you were doing professionally was feeding into what you were actually going to do, I would say, purposefully.
Yes.
Exactly. And that is amazing. So thank you for sharing how you began. And I hope anyone out there that's listening that has an idea, again, everything that you consume, everything that you use and touch, it was in someone's head at some point. And there's a very good chance that someone around them told them that it was crazy. Don't do that. It is not going to work. Anytime I think of that, I think of the fact that most people drink bottled water, right, Celeste? I mean,
that's true.
Can you imagine 20 years ago looking at somebody and going, I'm going to sell water? Like, are you nuts? Why would you sell that?
Exactly. So
I'm very inspired by the speed at which this all came together for you. And something else interesting that you mentioned, Celeste, was that, you know, COVID really was like a boom for you. It just took off for you. And before we started, we were talking a little bit about that and how COVID has unfolded very differently for different people. And for some people, it has been devastating. You know, they've faced, you know, huge financial losses. And other people have found a way to pivot. And other people have actually found what it is that they are doing next. And so you were saying that, what were the factors that really increased your business during COVID?
I would say the factors would be, like I said, social media exposure. Everybody was online. We need something to do with our time. So everybody's coming online, introducing themselves, talking about their businesses. I find business owners were like, let's use this time to be more creative, right? Like, as an entrepreneur, you know, you have that in you, you know, you don't let life, you know, you take life and you create life, right? That's the entrepreneur mindset. So for me, the factors are just, you know, more exposure, going on social media, saying, hey, here I am, the nut milk lady. And I was just lucky that people were willing, because sometimes some people aren't willing to do video testimonials. So the video testimonials really helped a lot. I mean, I would get a call and I would just get these random calls about getting and wanting nut milk. So I just think social media is a great tool that I guess you could say for businesses today, because it does give you that exposure. And then, of course, a lot of word of mouth. That's always something that's always a blessing, to have word of mouth, because people would call me and say, I want to try it. And if I like it, I'm going to tell my friends. I would get phone calls like that too. So definitely social media plays a big role.
So for you, during COVID, you feel that now captive, well, whether willing or not, audience was really the boost for your business?
I would say that, yes.
So to the other entrepreneurs out there, again, social media, I mean, it is the way of communication. It would kind of be like before the real launch of television, saying, well, I'm not going to use that medium because I don't like it. Social media is here. It's here to stay. It may evolve, but it is definitely a huge part of the landscape of business. And the fact that it is mostly free, I think, is amazing. People don't really plug into that. With social media, though, and something else that you said, which is what you were bringing to the people today about building relationships for small businesses. And not only do you have social media, you can have your ads and your friends share, and you can even boost your posts. You can pay to advertise on these different platforms. But you were saying word of mouth really was a huge factor to you. Now, what do you think does that? Is it you? Is it the product? Which one's more important? What would you say?
I would say a combination of both. So during COVID, I didn't just go on social media. We have WhatsApp. A lot of us use WhatsApp. And so I took time in different groups that I was in, and I would intentionally pick up the phone and call and introduce myself to people. And then people would be like, oh, Mike, oh, yeah, yeah, oh, okay, oh, thanks for calling. Oh, yeah, you know what I mean? And I would get, oh, thank you for picking up the phone. It's sort of like, I mean, social media is great, but that old school, I always like the traditional mixed with the modern. It's never going to go away. Traditional methods, I mean, if something happened today or tomorrow, we're going to have to go back to the old school. So I always like the combination of both, because it was amazing the feedback that I got from people who said, thank you for taking the time to pick up the phone and call me. Wow,
Wow.
this is your business. And I found out what their businesses are. I even started recommending other people, like, if I didn't take the time to pick up the phone to find out about other businesses and what they do, then you don't know how to recommend other people for when they need a service, whatever service they might need. So a combination of both. The old school is never going to go away. Face-to-face is never going to go away. Yes, COVID, we had to stay indoors. But again, because of technology, we're able to meet face-to-face virtually through Zoom and other platforms. So we always have to combine both, because sometimes some people, they're not going to really just, invest in you just because you have a slash or a beautiful site or a beautiful website. And, it's that know, like, and trust factor. So when you take the time to call someone and introduce, it's really different, because you've introduced, I take time sometimes to even have a Zoom call just to find out about another person's business. And we're just talking back and forth as business people and exchanging ideas. It's like, it's so different. No, I got a different feeling and a different type of energy when you actually take the time to get to know the people, because it becomes more personal now.
Wow. So that really is, like you said, taking the time. And I think with some of the newer school methods and people thinking that, everything can be automated and you can send mass this and mass that, a lot of people have lost sight of that. And that is that is what separates excellent customer service from a product. Yes. If you don't want to talk to anyone and you don't want to have any specialized service, there's Amazon, right? But if you want someone to know your needs, know what you like, but the really big tip here, and I look forward to when Business Takeout and I can have like big signs that come on screen that says tip or nugget or gold, because you drop several. And that taking time, building relationships, exchanging business information. I think that is the big ding, ding, ding here, is taking the time to find out, because a lot of people are like, here, this is what I have. Look at me, look at me, look. And
it's too in your face.
It's too in your face,
not the right
approach.
Yeah.
So building that authentic connection, it does take time. Yeah. But what it does is it gives you repeat clientele. It gives you referrals. Even if that person doesn't need or want your product, they most likely would tell them about this really lovely woman I spoke to the other day named Celeste, and she does this milk stuff. Maybe you want to check it out, right? I think that personal connection, it's actually almost, to me, Celeste, like a swing back, where, everybody got very cold and automated. And then people are like, I hate automated machines.
Just in your face. It's not personal, right? It's not like, it's just a different kind of energy. When you've met someone, you've taken the time to sit with them. Another thing I do is I purposely take my time to get to know people first before me throwing myself onto them, right? Because I find that there's a lot of cold call kind of business selling. Like, hi, here's my name. This is what I do. Pay.
Right.
It's not, I would say it's not the best approach, right? As a business owner, I've networked and I've gone to different stuff, and I've learned throughout my own journey that the best approach is to let a person speak first. And then based on that, I can decide if this is somebody I really want to continue to build or learn or have relationships with, because they're just, some people are just too aggressive, and
Yes.
everybody has a different personality. Even in one lady, I went to a group, and there are different types of personalities based on certain methods. I forgot what the system is called, but some people are nurturers, some people are sociable, some people are academic, and some people are, I guess, a combination of all three. So when you meet a person, you can actually find out by allowing them to speak first how to respond based on their personality type. And you can tell them in a couple of seconds of talking to them. But if you have the approach of me, you just kind of shut them off because you didn't relate to that individual based on how their personality is. So that's something that I've learned throughout my journey as an entrepreneur. Allow a person to speak, then you know how to relate based on the information that they provide you.
That they give to you. That is a wonderful tip. Question for you. What is the most surprising sale that you ever got? Was it distance or person? Like, has there been a
It
sale
was
that's
today.
today? Okay. All right. So what happened?
I actually got home in time for 6 o'clock. True story. Yeah. I got a phone call about 2 hours ago, and this is from my day job. True story. She contacted me and she said, "Are you still working at your place of work?" I said, "No, where did you find me?" And she says, "I know you gave me your phone number, and I know what you specialize in, and I'm ready to get the work done. Here's my information." And I had to go meet her because she's not somebody who does e-transfer or whatever. And I got a client just like that 2 hours ago.
See, I didn't expect your answer to be actually, it was today. So
Actually, it's very 2 hours ago, I went out there,
2 hours ago.
drove, and came back in time for 6 o'clock today. True story.
That is amazing. And I
Yeah.
think that also kind of plays into something I really believe is, I've gone to events, I've, done vendor events or even networking events, and you leave there thinking nothing happened. It wasn't very busy and what I learned, and I used to tell my team, is no vendor event is a waste of time. Even if there are no clients and you talk to other vendors, you will be amazed at how those connections come back. And I've seen 2 years later, and they're like, "Oh, I remember I met you," and I'm shocked. So travel through the world lightly, and make sure the connections that you make are really what you want to represent of yourself. And I think it goes a long way. So, this journey of becoming the nut milk lady was started, as I said, by necessity. And obviously you love it. You can tell you love it just by the way you speak about it. And you smile frequently when you talk about it. You try to be demure, but you could see the joy. And I think that's a wonderful thing for someone to do what they love. But when I asked you about the personal mission and the things that matter to you personally, because here on Business Takeout, not only do we want, these gems of wisdom that business people who are doing it have for other ones, we want to help build up the community and build up other entrepreneurs and really say, okay, this is how I did it. I think that's just the best way to learn. But what I find is also a connecting factor with people in business who are passionate about what they do is they're passionate people. So on the private side, what is one of the things that moves Celeste London? Like, what is a topic or an issue that matters to you?
A social issue going on right now? Discrimination in the workplace, that matters to me for people of color. I have so many, but that would be one that sticks out for me. And there's an overwhelming population of colored people, Black people specifically, who find themselves in a situation where they turn their academics or their gifts or their talents into self-employment due to necessity, not because they want to be an entrepreneur, but they've been placed in a situation where they have to find a way to take care of their families. And even I've had a personal experience with my own situation in life where I was the only person of color in my department as a nutritionist because they couldn't believe that I had the education I have. It was like, how did I get the money to pay for the education almost? That's what one lady asked me. She said, yeah, how did you get the money? And I said, well, I sacrificed like anyone else. And I actually went to work and went to school part-time. And it's just shocking that in 2020, we still have this mentality or whatever you want to call it on discrimination to certain ethnic groups. And so that's something that's a social issue that's of major concern to me. And it's just happening even right now. I had a friend who recently called me. She's like, I'm so uncomfortable, I'm so embarrassed, but I got fired unjustly. And her background and she wants to be a business owner. And of course, me being a business owner, I want to push people to go after and do your business, right? And I said, you see, you shouldn't come home, spend some time, make your stuff, do it, like get it done. You know what I mean? It might be baby steps, but it might take you somewhere. And so I just find that I don't know what the reason is that they're still, we're not in the 1800s, we're not in the 1900s. You know what I mean? And we still have this discrimination towards certain ethnic groups. And I don't know what the cause is. I mean, we're in Toronto, Canada, we're not in the USA, and that's a little bit more on the extreme side. But I don't know what the reason is, if it's the education of certain professionals who are just need to be re-educated or what it is. But I don't know what the solution is, because too many people are coming at me and telling me I've been unjustly fired. And this is not just Black people, this is like people of color.
As I was reading through your bio and seeing the different things that you had studied, but also seeing some of the things you address, and as you said, hormone imbalance, and then listing the things that it is, the symptoms, digestive issues and fatigue, menstrual problems, and so forth. And listening to you talk about the women that that have been wrongly or unjustly fired. And sadly, I actually know a couple of outrageous stories too, far more than I should ever have heard firsthand. Yeah. And I wonder if the work environment, if that constant underlying stress isn't a huge part of why everything ends up out of whack, especially for people of color, as you're saying, and for Black women especially, that have a lot of they say predispositions to certain things, but I think it is a non-balanced lifestyle. I think a lot of us aren't living as we are designed to, and that is why we're having all these difficulties. Do you think that there is a strong connection between people's work lives and their 100%. Health? And have you seen personally a shift when someone has left a job that they weren't happy at? Like, was there a dramatic difference in their health?
24-hour difference. A friend of mine, she was working as a nurse and, went to school, studied everything, went through and finally landed a nursing job. But she really likes being with nonprofit and helping kids. So she put herself, and things happened for her to go in that direction, where she's the organizer of developing events for youth and things like that. And when she changed positions, where she came out of all that time and energy studying to become a nurse and ended up in that situation, I think certain health systems that she was struggling with went away. So your job is definitely connected to health issues within a person's body. And if you know what your passions are, that's the starting of the healing process. So if you are able to, because not everybody is fortunate to say, I get up, I hate my job, I can quit. People are in different situations. But if you can work towards a goal where you can get out of a situation where you wake up in the morning, you're going towards something that you like to do, even if it's a business or a passion, but it's tied to a job or a career. So at least it's something that you're going to that makes you feel like it's part of your business. That's a lot better situation to be in than to be in a situation where you're just getting up just to go pay the bills, just because the bills have to be paid. And I tell people all the time, try to connect both. Maybe you're not in a situation where your business is making the income you wanted to make, but find a job that is connected to your passion. And that also helps as well, because I know some people, they will never be entrepreneurs. They're like, wow, you're an entrepreneur, and that's crazy. I can't handle that. And that's okay. But they
Say
wake
it
up every
again.
single day and they love their job. They wake up every day looking forward to go to their job. So that's a person that's happy. They're in their passion. They're doing what they're doing, but it's inside of a job.
That's it. And I love what you said, and it's really important. Entrepreneurship is not rated E for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It is not for everyone. And I know when I started out on my journey years ago, you get on this bandwagon and everybody should do this, make your own business. And then one day I realized, not everyone is designed this way. Some people like to be given instruction. Some people like structure. Like you said, some people luck out and have jobs that they absolutely love, which I think is the biggest joke you can play on the world. It is like to wake up and do what you love and someone pay you. It's you almost feel like you're, cheating. It's crazy.
Yes,
So
it is.
I think that they're great winners, but not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur. But honestly, going kind of back to what you said, because I'm really shocked. This person that asked you where you got the money to go to school, were you here in Toronto at the time?
Yeah, they live in Toronto. Yeah.
Stop this. Okay, because any international viewers watching, Canada has some of the least expensive education in the world. And I'm not saying it doesn't cost money. Don't get me wrong. But we're not talking about, her finding $150,000 to go to school. Like that, you see, they talk about microaggressions, Celeste. And that was not a microaggression. That was a macroaggression. Okay. Yeah. That was rude. Like, did you find the money to go to? That is that is really rude. But wow. Yeah. And I guess those are the things that build up and all the little ticks, all the little dents. And then one day you're like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. This is really not for me. And that's what gets, people moving. So Celeste, in wrapping up, thank you for that. Thank you for all the wonderful gems that you shared. Thanks. Building connections.
Yes.
Using the internet, use your social media, use your social media. But when you connect. Ask a question. When you say hello, how are you? Don't go, hello, how are you? My name is Celeste Johnson.
No, don't do that.
And that's what people do. And I'm guilty.
It's wrong.
When I first started this years ago with an MLM, that's the instructions we were given. I hide my face in shame this day when I think of the spammy messages that I sent. But you learn as you go. And it is so effective to ask somebody how they are and get an answer and give something back of yourself. You know what? The sale might not be today. It may not even be for that person, but it comes. It's coming.
It's coming.
And then what you had said about Black people and people of color, not really understanding why this is still going on. Celeste, that really resonated with me, because sometimes when I sit here and I hear story after story and we see, even when we're not looking, we see so many things. And that is one of the feelings that I'm really left with, is I just don't understand why.
Yeah.
I don't
know what the reason is. Yeah.
We just can't understand why. You walk around in our own skin and we know we're nice. We just, even the justification of being a nice person, forget all that. I just can't understand disliking someone on site.
Yeah.
Just on site, literally, because that's what's happening, right? And deeming them unworthy. But Celeste, your journey, your less than 24-month journey into being a recognized business person by, like you said, the giants of industry, but also too by the people who matter. And that's the local people who spread the word and let other people know what you're doing. So let us know where to find you. Where can we find you, Celeste?
So you can find me on Facebook. Instagram is the Nut Milk Lady. My name is Celeste London on Facebook. You see, I have a very unique logo with the nut milk and the food, which represents hormone nutrition. And yeah, Twitter, it's Nut Milk Lady 1. And you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. So my links are all the same. There's another platform. It's called Alignable. A lot of people are not aware of Alignable. It's a really good platform, sort of like LinkedIn, to connect with other business people. And they're really nice people. I actually got clients from Alignable.
Well, when we post this video, Celeste, if you don't mind dropping those links in the comments so that people, and Alignable, I really like the link for that because, you know, the more of us that are on there is the better that it is.
Yeah. A lot of people, it's good because Alignable is like LinkedIn, but it helps you to connect with business people. And they're actually looking to connect so that they can refer your businesses. And I've had people who connected with me, liked my business, and I referred their business, they referred my business, which is kind of neat.
Yep, I love this small business building up, you know, building each other up and building themselves up. Celeste, thank you for joining us today here on Business Takeout. I will see you on the internet and hopefully one day soon in person. I hope, because we don't know when this is going to be over. But until then, take care, keep pushing the wonderful messages that you do and the wonderful fresh product that you do. So you can connect with Celeste, the Nut Milk Lady, on all platforms, as well as your website, and the links will be in the comments. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.